Hi, welcome back. Thanks for sticking it out with me. Hopefully, again, that you're getting something out of this. I also wanted to just highlight real quick, it's probably for my own ego, but I am making all of these videos at the same time. So I don't want you to think that, ah, she like never changes his clothes, her clothes or leaves that room. I do, I promise. I'm just trying to be more conscientious with my time to work smarter, not harder, if you will. Not that this is work for me. I do this out of love and inspiration, honestly. And hopefully those that are meant to see it. And those that aren't, it's nothing out of their day. But in any case, I just wanted to get that out of the way. So moving on with the flow of energy. All right. We talked a little bit about the different types and forms of energy that we have in a lot of relationships. But if we're thinking more of like um, an intimate partnership, okay, then you're going to have that physical intimacy. You're going to have money. You're going to have love and however that's communicated. If you think of, again, the 5 love languages. And then you're just going to have communication, period. Okay. And when we think of flow, energy flow, it's that reciprocity, right? It's that give and take. And it's not always going to be tit for tat, if you will, because, excuse me, maybe someone's injured and they are unable to work for a while, and some of that falls more on the other partner or something like that. That's fine as long as there's still that reciprocity in all the other areas, and that eventually the person comes back and does their share, if you will. It, and every relationship is going to be different. Some people like to be, depending on their belief systems, they may have one partner that stays primarily at home to raise children, and that's fine. But once the children are raised, what are we doing, right? What are we doing with regards to this? And maybe then it's other things. Maybe, I'm not saying that that's wrong. It doesn't, you don't have to have a career to have a fulfilling life. Okay. It's just we want to make sure that there's an equal exchange, that one person doesn't feel like they're doing everything, that everything falls on their shoulders. Because then we might lean more into a codependent type relationship. Because maybe that person who is doing everything is doing that, enabling that situation without even consciously being aware of it. Because it's, again, like I tapped into a few videos ago, more of ego, right? I feel good having people dependent on me because it makes me feel worthy or worthwhile or something that I don't feel on my own. Okay. The goal here in life as we move forward and continue to grow is to eventually feel that on your own. Not so that you can be alone for the rest of your life and independent, but that you have that ability to fill your own cup. Okay. So that you know that whether people need you or not, or whether you need other people or not, because we are always in that flow with people, right? That you're good all on your own. And then to be in an interdependent relationship, it's I can take that now and share that with someone else who is good on their own. And now we can be good together, right? So if we think of in the flow versus stagnancy, right? Stagnancy is when maybe we withhold. We withhold physical intimacy. We withhold money within a relationship dynamic. Maybe one person's in more power than another. Maybe we relinquished that at one point because maybe someone needed to learn about how to use money or that flow of money. So they said, listen, can you give me an allowance and then I can learn how to budget or something? And that's fine. We all have to start someplace. But if it stays that way, right? And within that dynamic, we're not learning how to budget money. We're just dwelling, if you will. This works. It's easy. I don't have to think about it. then we're not growing and it becomes stagnant. And then it can quickly become a power struggle or a power differential within a relationship. I have the money. I determine how it's spent, not you. That's not every relationship, but we're all human and we have that ego tendency, which ego is not bad. We need that within this world. We just don't want it to be in the driver's seat where it's determining the choices that we make, especially with regards to interpersonal relationships. Okay. So you can say the same thing about physical intimacy. Well, maybe somebody just had surgery, or maybe they don't feel well and they withhold, but they're willing to communicate that I don't feel good. And it's not a continuous pattern where it becomes more of a lie, right? Because then that tells us maybe there's something we need to talk about, right? But sometimes people will use that as a punishment, right? I've seen it. I've seen it in relationships. Well, he or she won't be intimate with me unless I do this or unless I provide this or whatever the case may be. That's not the flow I'm talking about. That's more of a power play. Okay, that's manipulation. That's control. Okay, and usually when we hear the word control, anxiety. Anxiety comes from that needing, I need to control my environment because I don't trust it. I don't trust what's coming my way. And how do we build trust? We build trust through flow of communication, healthy communication. And sometimes we're not in a healthy place. So maybe we communicate and it's not so healthy. It's that willing to learn, that self-accountability, that maybe how that came across wasn't how I intended it to. Maybe I was triggered and I said it like this, and then that only created more issues here, right? Hopefully, if someone is feeling that way, they're going to communicate that to you, and then you have that self-accountability where you can own that and then apologize and try and work on that, right? But then communication itself can be manipulated, right? If we think about holding back your energy or holding back, and I'm not communicating, sometimes it's because, well, you hurt me, you owe me an apology. Well, that's control. However, if you work through that and you heal that, and it's, I'm not communicating with you because I recognize that you have things that you need to work on and I don't want to push you, well, then that's a different form of, that's intentional caring, right? However, without communication, people like to fill in the blanks, right? We all fill in the blanks and we all do this. I don't care how enlightened you are, how healed you may be, how much you've grown. We all fill in the blanks because that's what our brain does. So communication is really important, if for nothing else but to express intent. Okay, listen, I just want you to know this is where I'm at. I may not be able to move forward with this right now, but I want you to know that this is what's going on. Okay. Or, within a relationship, well, these are all within relationships because otherwise who are we communicating with? I guess our higher self. That's healthy too, quite truthfully. But in any case, communication can be a form of manipulation, but it can also be a form of healing, just being honest and authentic. Sometimes all somebody needs to hear is the truth, whether it's pretty or ugly. Okay. And that's what builds trust. Everyone's different with that. I know me, for instance, I want the truth, whether it's ugly or not. I just need the truth. And if I feel that someone is lying to me, even on the smallest, minute spectrum, it sets me off. It makes me withhold. It makes me go back because then I feel like, all right, well, what else are you lying about? And it could be something so benign for the best of intentions. But if I'm left to fill in the blanks, usually that's when unhealed triggers will come up for people, right? Everyone's different. I'm just using myself as an example because it's the only brain I'm in. So in any case, um, sometimes it's healthy to remove energy, to pull back and say, okay, we need to talk about this, which is still communication. So we might withhold one form of communication in order to express another. Okay. Again, I could talk for hours on any of these particular topics, so I don't mean to just give a little bit, but I'm trying to keep these videos a little more palpable because, or palatable, I should say, because they can go on. I'm wordy. I know that. So yes, withholding is sometimes very healthy in what someone needs so that they don't feel pressured. Okay. If I'm constantly at someone trying to understand it in my mind and they're like, I can't talk about this anymore, then how am I helping? Right? I mean, that's not how I am, but I'm just saying, we all have different things and how we express them. So it's important when we're communicating that we're listening to, that we're hearing what the other person is saying. We may not understand it. And sometimes the best communication we can give is, I don't understand, but I respect you. And if that's what you're asking for, if you're asking for space or you're asking for more of this, I will try to understand. And let's have more open communication around it so that I can test the waters without you judging me, right? I can ask you, did you want this? Is this what you were looking for? So that I can learn, right? And that can present in all kinds of different things. So, with regards to how that plays out. But communication can be toxic, it can be healing. And how we communicate. And we communicate through, like I said, body language, tone, expression, facial expressions. We communicate with, am I present in the moment with you? Am I looking at you? Am I engaging with you? Or am I looking at my phone and just going, uh-huh, uh-huh, right? And this plays out a lot, especially with like our children. We live in a technological world right now. So it's important to be present when we're dealing with people, to try and understand what they're saying, not to listen to respond or to react, if you will, but to actually hear what they're saying and try and understand, okay? And then maybe respond, not react. Do you need more clarification, right? And that's part of the growing in a relationship. I want to do this. This is a dream. Do you support me? And when I say support, support comes in many different forms. It's not always about money or, a lot of times when we want support, we just want that emotional encouragement. But it's important to be able to provide that for yourself because sometimes we're dealing with people who aren't in a place to give it. Okay? That doesn't make them bad or less than. But unless they believe that, it's a moot point because we are what we believe. Okay? So be mindful of your beliefs. Be mindful of where you stand within relationship dynamics and the reasons for it. Is it an ego pride thing or is it a confusion thing? And in which case, communication is even more important. Okay? Because if you are confused and you are finding yourself filling in the blanks, it's not a good place to be. Okay? Talk. Express. Be in the flow. And when you find stagnant energy rise up in any of those areas within your relationships, address it. Address it internally so that you understand what's creating that stagnancy in the first place within your own self-accountability, and address with your partner or the other person in the relationship dynamic. It does take two to tango, okay? And sometimes the best you can do is express. And if they're unwilling to do their part, then change has to happen, okay? Otherwise, the stagnancy grows. And as I've talked about in previous videos, stagnancy leads to cancer, right? In the body, stagnant cell development can lead to cancer, literally. Metaphorically, to a relationship, same thing happens, just energetically. And then we lose that zest. We lose that inspiration. We lose that desire in life or for the other person. So it's important to attend to those things, to be mindful, but be in the flow, okay? It's not all or nothing, but the more we can pay attention as we move forward, the better it's going to be for us, okay? So again, wordy. All right. Hopefully these help. Leave messages or whatever. I'd love to talk to you if you have any questions. Communicate, because I'm not always right either. I'm just speaking from my own experience, from what I've learned, and for what I'm inspired to say. So, blessings to you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk again soon. All right. Bye.